Hello. A few days ago, I posted about my show, the Midas Experience. What I thought I'd do today is talk a bit about the creative process that went behind creating that show. Partly because you might be interested, a good piece of procrastination to give you a break from work. But also, I think there are several lessons there that I could share that you might want to use in your own designing your own projects or pushing your own creativity. So it began by asking myself some questions. I had some books that help with the creative process. I've got one here called Start, a creative notebook. This is designed specifically for magicians. And this one here, Only Ideas, which is again a sort of Kickstarter booklet of ways to get creative. Now, these are written for magicians. If you go on the internet and just Google books about creativity or how to be creative, there's no end of websites and books and so on that will give you inspiration to start the process. The one I used was from here, and what Anton has done is he's got a lot of sentences which you use as starter sentences towards a creative process. And I picked the one that says, once you know what I know about real magic, you start to worry about very different things. So I took that sentence and then began a kind of brainstorming process. I'm not sure if you can see that around that. I took the keywords. I've got real world magic, and I just ran with ideas that came up. I've got real versus fake magic, personal wear and tear, unexpected consequences, control, responsibility. These are my kind of like a spider diagram. And then for responsibility, I've got other little things coming off. Should I tell, for example, or I've got unexpected consequences. Know what people think about you. Now, you jot down all the different ideas, and some will kind of speak to you or stand out to you. And I began to think about that. For example, the should I tell. One of the things you do in a magic show is where people is reading people's body language to influence people and to know whether they're lying or not in various games that I play in my magic show. But I got to think about that. What if a friend said to me, well, I think my partner is having an affair behind my back, and well, she wouldn't do it in front of you, would she? Having an affair. And I want you I think she said she's at meetings, and I think she's not. I want you to come along. I want to ask some questions and just see if she's lying or not. Would I get involved in that? You know, every time I saw somebody lying, should I be poking my nose in and saying, no, that was a lie? Or what about, if I knew what someone was thinking about me, would you always really want to know that? And then I took it a bit further, I kind of reversed it round. We always assume that if you could read someone's thoughts, you kind of hop in and read their thoughts. But what about if they came to you unbidden? As you were walking around, you're being bombarded by people's thoughts. It might actually be quite a burden. So this was the seed of my idea. So the lesson I'd say for you is that if you're interested, you can decide to be creative. And we all tell ourselves, I'm not very creative. And every person who gets involved in creativity will soon tell you, well, that's not true. It's there somewhere. But there are methods and approaches that can help you tap into creativity and to come up with new ideas. You have to be prepared to go a lot of dead ends. All the stuff on that page there, only one or two of them got taken up in the end. But that's part of the process. And even every time you rule something out, that's part of the process too. Okay, so I started to get my idea, the idea about what would it be like if having magical powers, mental powers, mind reading powers, what burdens might it bring? What responsibilities might this bring with it? So that was my idea. The next thing I think, okay, well, what will I include in the show? I began with the tricks that I already use. Some of them I couldn't. For example, I use one at the start of many of my shows where I have some cards and 5 playing cards. I keep throwing them away, but I keep ending up with 5 cards. This is a fantastic trick and audiences really love it. It's a great opener, but it wouldn't be suitable for this particular show. So you have to be kind of ruthless and say, well, as much as I love this magic trick, it's got to go out, and I may need to replace it with other things. And then you need to start looking around. So up here, I've got a whole rack of books with magic tricks. Down there, I've got pamphlets of magic tricks. I start going through them, researching to find ideas that I could use in my show. What's the lesson for you is, well, that you need to have a library. of ideas to research. You don't have to be all from you. You can go outside and use other people's ideas, adapt and change, of course, but have a library, have resources to supplement, whatever field that you work in. I think also you have to be prepared that you may end up somewhere very far from where you started. I mean, I began with original ideas about, the responsibility that I mentioned, or what if I would be able to know what was in somebody's diary. I ended up coming far away from that, but that's again part of the process. So begin by deciding to be creative, thinking some ideas. Then I've got my creative questions. Then I've researched ideas. Next, I then sort of put them into a show, and using some ideas in this book, I've got maximum entertainment, again, looking outside my knowledge to other people's skills and information they can give you. I start looking at the show and from a different perspective. So I was looking at, for each trick I've got here, I've asked myself questions, who's involved? Is it, what type of magic, what type of mind reading is involved? Prediction, body language, mind reading, thought control. Are there any opportunities for humour? How many people are involved? To make sure that I've got a balance in the show, so it's not just one type of thing over and over and over again. So that's the importance of planning and changing what you're going to do. Again, having your resources to give you advice on things. Then for each individual trick, I go through each one, and I've got notes for each trick, and I'm making, like, anticipating what could go wrong. And as I'm thinking, I'm making little notes to myself on these post-its, which I'll take away as they're dealt with. So as you go into the trick in more detail, more ideas come through, more questions come through. But the importance of preparation. If you're making a cold call, if you're going to meet a client, think about what could go wrong in advance is a very important skill, anticipating how you will deal with it. There'll always be the unknown, and much you can do about that. But you can try to, anticipate some things, at least not get caught on the hop, having to think on your feet in a situation where the unexpected arises. The next thing I do is I look to other people. I've been looking at watching Derren Brown shows. I really admire Derren Brown. Not looking to learn his tricks, but to see how he presents his show, how he engages with the audience, and see what I can learn from that, so I can improve the actual performance, entertainment value of what I do in my show. And again, so what you can learn from that, is to look to have mentors, or to have people you look up to, and see what you can learn. You don't want to copy them, but they inspire you, and you can emulate, and you can learn from their skills and apply them to your own circumstances. The next thing that came was writing a script. And I write this script as if I was a member of the audience. So it says, walks to the centre of stage holding 5 small coloured envelopes in hand. So I'm imagining what an outsider would see when I did the show. So maybe that's something you might have to think about in your work. Imagine someone was watching you. What would they be seeing? Imagine someone was listening into the conversation that you're about to have, the deal you're going to be talking about. So just trying to see it from an outside perspective. Or, if you're anticipating a cold call, imagine you were the person at the other end of the call. What would they be hearing? Or if you're talking, what would they be seeing? So just perhaps seeing it not through your eyes, but somebody else's eyes might help you to spot something that you might otherwise have not noticed, and therefore improve your presentation and improve your chances of securing the deal or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Lastly, I was thinking about the name. I thought of mixed blessings or gifts, but I thought perhaps they might have a slightly religious overtone that I was wanting to avoid in case that might upset people. And I thought about the fact that, went back to the idea of having voices in your head that you couldn't stop as you're wandering around, or having moral responsibilities. I began to think of King Midas, who wanted, to everything he touched would turn to gold, but what looked like a gift wasn't a gift in the end. Well, I have to wrap up there. I hope you've enjoyed that, some insights into the creative process that went behind the show. I don't need to tell anyone who's out there involved in freelancing or many other forms of business that what people see is nothing like the amount of work that's gone in behind the scenes. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment box. Until then, till next time, it's Magic Frank signing off. Bye for now. Take care.